Welcome back to my G1 Retro Reviews. Today, we're taking a look at the original Transformers series episode, Masquerade. In this episode, some of the Autobots cosplay as the Stunticons in order to try and fool the Decepticons. This episode begins with Megatron sending the Stunticons on a mission. Motormaster names himself and all the other Stunticons. I guess in case you forgot. Is it just me? Or does Dragstrip Salute look more like a facepalm?
Then raise the docking tower!
That is what she said.
Back at the Autobot base...
How about souping me up so I can give those Stunticons a rundown?
You're just fine as is, Ironhide.
Okay, several things. I wonder what a souped-up Ironhide would look like. Would he get a new alt mode? Or maybe just some kind of trailer upgrade armor. Second, it's kind of sweet how Ratchet says that Ironhide is just fine how he is. Aww, I think I found a new ship. And third, that's not Ratchet's voice actor. No, it appears that, much like on other occasions, voice director Wally Burr subbed for Ratchet's regular voice actor, Don Messick.
What's this? Cars without drivers? It must be the Autobots.
How functionist of you to say that. As the other Stunticons steal the other components, the Autobots pinpoint their location and move to intercept. First, Breakdown and Wild Rider are caught by Inferno, Grapple, and Hoist. And it's interesting. I wonder if this is the only time that we see Grapple and Inferno side by side in the cartoon. It really goes to show how they've interpreted the same mold in different ways. Next, Warpath and Trax take out Dead End and Breakdown.
Bam! Boom! Pow! I'll make that hot rod even hotter!
Hot Rod? He's not in this show yet. You'll have to wait until after the movie to see him. And even then, for most of the remainder of the show, he's Rodimus Prime, not Hot Rod.
A flying car! How droll!
Flying DeLorean? I haven't seen one of those in 30 years.
I know I probably say this whenever Trax is in an episode, but he looks really cute in this shot. Ouch! Did Warpath just murder Dead End? That seemed unnecessarily brutal. Optimus and Motormaster face off once again. And after a head-on collision, Optimus Prime proves that he's made of sterner stuff. So they take them back to the Ark, where Optimus gets the idea to dress up as the Stunticons in order to find out what the Decepticons are up to.
I hope this camouflage paint comes off, Jazz.
Oh, quit griping. You're still the same sideswipe inside, right?
Too true, Jazz. No matter how you change on the outside, you are still the same inside.
Man, Optimus, you're a dead ringer for Motormaster.
Did you have to say dead ringer, Spike?
You know, hearing the Autobots' voices come out of the Stunticons' bodies kind of reminds me of this week's Rescue Bots episode review, Switcheroo. Or is it next week's? I don't know. This new schedule is kind of confusing.
All right then, Stunticons, let's roll for it.
Aww, I was kind of hoping that Optimus would come up with an evil version of Transform and Roll Out. But he's used Roll for it on previous occasions. What would the Stunticons version be? Transform and Peel Out? So the Autobots, disguised as the Stunticons, go to the quarry where the Decepticons are building their new weapon. I just realized. The Autobots really are robots in disguise. Or maybe they're robots in disguise, disguised as other robots in disguise. Does that make sense? Either way, it's a lot of disguises.
Strange, isn't it, Megatron? How safely the Stunticons drive today?
So as not to damage their stolen cargo, Starscream.
Perhaps.
Funny how it's Starscream who finds the fake Stunticons to be sus. Almost as if he can tell they're imposters. Speaking of which, The real Stunticons escaped from Autobot custody.
What's all the racket?
Oh, we're in for trouble. Big trouble.
Wait, hold on. Did you see Ironhide next to the other Autobots? Maybe Ratchet did give him an upgrade after all. Supersized Ironhide. When Menasor busts out of the Ark, we can see that he has a purple Autobot symbol on his chest. Man, the animators must have been really confused with all the repaints and switching sides in this episode if they thought that Menasor was a shattered glass version of himself. So, Starscream's suspicions prove to be correct as the other Menasor arrives.
Those Stunticons are imposters!
Man, I really need to play Among Us. I bet there's a lot of jokes I could make here related to that game if I did. So, to prove that they're the real Stunticons, the Autobots attempt to combine into Menasor. And surprisingly, they succeed!
Real Menasor has special powers.
Yes, powers that apparently include armpit lasers and a sword. Very special powers indeed. With the Autobots' disguise broken, Megatron attempts to destroy them with his new weapon. But he seems to have forgotten that it was made of knockoff components. And so the Decepticons retreat.
You plan on fighting all alone, Megatron? Good luck!
Wait, Soundwave can fly in his cassette deck mode? Well, that's pretty much the end of this episode. This was an interesting one. I like seeing the Autobots dress up as the Stunticons. I think I would have liked to see the Decepticons return the favor. But now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure the Decepticons have done something like this before on at least a couple of occasions. Still, I think it would have been cool to see the Seekers cosplay as the Aerial Bots. That would have been interesting, especially if at some point they try to combine into Superion. Maybe then we would have gotten a Seeker Combiner. Speaking of which, this episode was kind of the inspiration for Combiner Wars Ultra Prime, or Optimus Maximus, or whatever he's supposed to be called. Personally, I like Ultra Prime, because it almost sounds like my own name. And I was hoping that BotCon would have done a Maximal Combiner and called it Ultra Primal. But oh well. Anyways, like I was saying, this episode was sort of homaged in Combiner Wars, where Optimus Prime was a repaint and remold of Motormaster, and Mirage was a repaint and remold of Dragstrip. But unfortunately, they were the only two Autobots that matched their Stunticon counterparts. Jazz would eventually receive a toy that was compatible with the Combiner Wars toys in Power of the Primes, but he was his own original mold, not a repaint and retool of Dead End. Also, I think the less said about that toy, the better. Windcharger would get a Combiner Wars toy, but it was a Legends class toy, not a deluxe, and therefore could not form an arm or a leg. Sideswipe didn't get a toy in the Prime Wars trilogy at all, but oddly, his brother Sunstreaker did, and it was a repaint and remold of Breakdown. I guess Hasbro had their Lambo twins confused? It's a real shame that we never got a proper Masquerade fake Stunticons Autobot combiner. My hope is that, since it looks like we're getting a new Menasor in Legacy, maybe we'll get a repaint and remold of it as the Autobots. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Also, this line from Megatron is very interesting.
Your machine appears unstable. Suggest abandoning it.
Suggestion noted and ignored!
This is the same line that Megatron said in Beast Wars.
I merely felt our power should be conserved for the larger battle.
Duly noted and ignored.
While in reality, this is simply the writers of Beast Wars homaging a somewhat obscure line from G1. But I can't help but think that this lends credence to my fan theory that G1 Megatron was somehow influenced by Beast Wars Megatron. Well, what about you? What did you think of this episode of G1? Let me know down in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, and do all that other fun stuff. And I'll see you back here next time for for what is technically the season 2 finale of the original Transformers series, Bot. Yeah, not a great way to end a season. Honestly, I think that this episode would have made a better finale, but oh well. I guess I'll see you back here next time for that.